It's been so long. If you're new here, I'm Ashley. I'm the owner behind Applique Party, an embroidery design shop on Etsy, as well as Country View Monograms that most of you know me from here on YouTube, as well as on Etsy and Facebook. I love to provide tutorials on different things, and today we are going to be working on a blanket stitch design. It's a Christmas design, and I'm going to run you through step by step how I stitch these out and show you the final product that'll be available through Applique Party on Etsy. So here's my new setup at my desk, complete with assistant. And here is a blanket stitch. This is actually technically an E-stitch. For those of you that know the difference between a blanket stitch and an E-stitch, but they essentially are the same, just the E-stitch has those shorter ones in between, the longer ones basically makes it look like an E, right? But I love this on certain styles of applique because it is kind of vintagey looking and gives kind of a rustic feel to it. So I thought that paired well with this kind of vintagey Saint Nick. Old Saint Nick is what I've named him. And like I said, I digitized this, drew and digitized this out yesterday, and we're going to test stitch it today for my shop. So I have my t-shirt ready. I'm just going to use like this sand colored t-shirt and put this vintagey Santa Claus on here. So I am going to use my 9x8 Mighty Hoop. This is an 8-inch tall design. It's actually like 7 7/8 to make sure it fits inside an 8-inch hoop. The machines I have, I'm a little limited on my stitch space. I would love to upgrade, but maybe soon. They have a max depth of 8 inches. Now I do make this design larger for those wanting to purchase the design and have a machine where you can do a depth longer, or you have the ability or desire, I guess, to float your shirt like on a different plane so that you could put something longer than 7 7/8. Personally, don't want to do that. So we're using an 8x9 Mighty Hoop today. For those that ask, I use a tearaway and a piece of poly mesh. Keep in mind, you know, if you know me, you know I preach. Not all poly mesh is equal. Some of the stuff you get on Amazon is poor quality. Get you a good poly mesh that does not shrink, or it's going to shrivel up your design when you wash and dry it. All right, let's go. I think I put the backing hooper on wrong, but we're just going to go back and do it the Ashley way. So I have my piece of tearaway, my piece of poly mesh, tiny bit of adhesive spray. I like the Gunold KK100 directly from Gunold. If you have a wholesale account, it's actually really affordable there. I put it about where I'm going to need it. Just press it down, flip it back, right side out. I like to fold these in half and just put a slight crease mark. I don't like hooping. I don't like heat pressing that in because I feel like it stays if I do that. But just a finger press with the stabilizer is just enough that I can see it to hoop. So you can just barely see it there. More in the stabilizer than in the actual shirt itself. And then what I'm going to do is basically hoop it like that. I like to put the top of the design about 1 hand width away from the top. Sometimes I do put a little dot sticker or something there to help me visualize that when I'm putting it in the hoop. Like I said, I do have the Mighty Hoop board, but I have it set up for left chest monograms, and getting it switched over is just, to me, more of a pain. So I'd rather just hoop these flat. There we go. Much better, much easier, in my opinion. All right, so I am using my Brotherton needle today, and I have the design moved over to my machine. And now the good, bad, and ugly about the blanket stitch, E-stitch, and vintage stitch type appliques. One of the negatives I find is having a multi-needle machine is that I have to do like each piece. So starting off here, it's going to have us do like the face, the skin piece first. So we're going to do our tack down, or I'm sorry, our placement, our tack down, and then our outside stitch around it to tack it, to finish it. In this case, it's an E-stitch. That's our final stitch before it moves on to the next piece. Now, as a multi-needle user, I would rather place and trim all my appliques and then let it run to do the finishing stitches. If you're a single needle user, this is probably a much more traditional method of doing applique. This is probably more your preferred method because you don't have to change your threads. I already have that issue solved. So that's the good, bad, and ugly about it. Let's go ahead and get these set, and I'll show you what that looks like. On the 10 needle, 6 needle, brother, and baby lock machines, there's many ways to set up your design. I personally prefer to do it here in the edit screen before I go onto the sewing, and I do that by clicking the color button, and I go through and set the colors. Now, this is just personal preference. Today, I am going to use basically all black. I'm going to use black for my tack down, or my placement, my tack down, and my final stitch, just to make it pop. You can certainly match colors on these too, but I'm treating it almost like a bean stitch where I want that outline with the black. You could also outline it with white if it was a lot of dark colors, or you can of course match to your fabric color as well. I like setting the stops here, signing the color and the stop, and then going to each one. That's a personal preference. There's many ways to do that. That's my way of doing it. So I'm going to go to the sewing screen, and I'm not going to need to move it up and down because it's basically maxing out my 8-inch hoop anyways. So as I, oops, wrong button. As I go to sewing, I have some colors locked in. On the 10 needle, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are kind of hard to change. They're the ones that are in the middle. So I leave those locked in or anchored as white, silver, black, and red. So we already have our black ready to go on 6. So we are ready to rock and roll. Let's get the first one, placement going. All right, so we see the placement stitch is done. I'm going to put down my the choice of flesh colored fabric I am using. I save scraps, so I'm using scraps for this as much as possible. We'll go ahead and run that tack down stitch. Now, it's going to give you the outline to trim around. Watch the fingers, please. Fingers out of the way of the needle, always. So before we do that final stitch, we are going to come over here and trim closely around the placement and the tack down stitches. I prefer these little bitty scissors. Everyone has their own preference, but I do leave these linked to Amazon. These are my favorite ones. The cost has gotten astronomical the past couple of years though. There's those. Now it's ready to do our top E stitch on this section, and then it'll go right to stitching the placement stitch for the next piece of the applique. All right, this might be a little hard to visualize, but I'm going to use this kind of as a non-traditional for the hat. And then I do have where the beard and mustache are separated from the trim on the hat. So you can use 2 different colors, or you can use the same fabric as well for simplicity. I'm going to choose to use like this crosshatch, kind of sparkly silvery gray. And then on the white for the hat, you could always use like something fluffy, or I'm just going to do a nice tone-on-tone white print. So you'll see we have that final stitch done for the face portion, and now I'm going to put my silver down. It's already run my placement stitch, so I know where to find it. Now I do have it where it just outlines and you put this all in one fabric, but it does stitch in the actual details individually. So that way you're not having to trim multiple pieces. You can use one piece of fabric for the whole beard and mustache area. And I try to make things as simple and quick as possible. All right, he's taking shape. We have that beard cut, and it's ready for the E top stitch, and then it'll go ahead and stitch the hat next, I believe. We have that top stitch done for the bearded area now, and as you can see, it did stitch in the details for the mustache as well as the beard. And now we're ready to do we've already done the placement. We're going to do the tack down now for the hat. You can see up there. Now, I didn't point it out earlier, but you can see that I do put heat and bond line on the back of my fabrics. So I'm going to go ahead and place this and run that placement stitch next. All right, and last is the trim for the hat. So I do have this set full, so it does the placement stitch for both the bottom trim as well as the little bow at the end. You place your fabric, it does the tack down for both of those, you trim it, and then it does the finish stitch for both. Again, I try to make that and painless as possible to help you guys out. So let's get that last piece done and then we'll see the finished product. All right, here he is in his finished glory. Look at all those cute stitches. Again, you don't have to trim perfectly to do these. Some people like to leave a little edge. I like to trim these a little bit closer than I would a bean stitch because I feel like we've got that extra stitching there to hold it. I do have Heat and Bond Light on the back of my fabric, so I am going to hit this with an iron real quick to help smooth it out and secure it. And we'll get some pictures done. All right, here he is all finished in my light box setup. I just use a 24 by 24 inch. I would love to get a bigger one, but you know, space. So I just use a regular wood backdrop in here. Close the lid, stick my hand in, and take some pictures. Love this little guy. I think he came out so cute. But I would love to hear from you guys. I know it's been a while. I would love to know what you'd like to see from my channel coming forward. And would you love tutorials, work with me vlogs, new stitch outs, digitizing? What would you like to see? Drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you all. Thanks.